In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Doppelganger is a medium monstrosity shapechanger of challenge rating 3. They have an AC of 14 and 52 hit points, as well as a standard movement speed of 30. They have decent stats for their level, with a +4 to Dex and a +2 to both Charisma and Constitution. They have a +6 in Deception and a +3 in Insight, making them experts at misleading and misdirecting your players. They are immune to being charmed, and they can use their shapechanger trait to polymorph themselves into an exact copy of any small or medium humanoid they have seen before. Though their form can change, their stats stay the same. If a Doppelganger manages to surprise a creature with an attack, it gains advantage on the hit. If the surprised creature does get hit, they are dealt an additional 3d6 damage. The Doppelganger can make 2 slam attacks per turn, each with a +6 to hit, dealing 1d6 +4 bludgeoning damage. Normally, this is a range of 5 to 10, but with a surprise creature, the threshold rises to 8 to 28 damage per strike, a devastating amount for a party of low level. A Doppelganger can also magically read the surface thoughts of a creature within 60 feet, and can do so unless blocked by very specific types of material. While reading the surface thoughts of a creature, the Doppelganger gains information and advantage on insight and charisma checks against that target. They are described in the monster manual as devious shapeshifters that take on the appearance of other humanoids, throwing off pursuit or luring victims to their doom with misdirection and disguise. As a DM, it's easy to recognize the Doppelganger as a standard hit-and-run creature. All of their traits indicate that they are supposed to attack surprised creatures, and their shape-changing abilities allow them to make use of crowds or groups of other creatures to strike, disappear, and then strike again. Before combat, regardless of the setting, I would have the creature scope out a potential victim, reading their surface thoughts to gain information. It is likely that the party member will be thinking about their mission, or the adventuring group with whom they are traveling. This alerts the Doppelganger to the fact that they might be outnumbered. I would then use the setting to the Doppelganger's advantage, changing shape into other party members, or into creatures or people to attack them with advantage, and use the element of surprise. In 5th edition, there is no such thing as a surprise round, but a surprised creature does lose their first turn in combat. Once the combat starts, it will be likely that all of your player characters will be surprised, as none of them at low levels will be able to see through the Doppelganger's shapechanger illusion. Use this to the Doppelganger's advantage, and strike the player it views as most vulnerable, typically the people wearing robes and holy symbols. If possible, have it hide and transform into another creature or another player, and lie to regain their trust. As a side note, if you do this with your group, there is a bit of metagaming that needs to be ignored. Your players might be aware of which person is which, but the characters do not. There's an interesting encounter in the Shrine of Temochan module where a Doppelganger uses gas to knock out a party member and replace them. I took this a step further and had the room set up so that the first player to enter would be locked in with a wall of force, isolating them from the rest of the party. I then spoke to my players separately about the fact that they are now playing a Doppelganger who has knocked out their PC and stowed them naked in a coffin. They were to try and trick their fellow players into springing the traps in the room, and then surprise attack one of the quote-unquote weakened players. One idea that I have not tried, but I've seen online quite a bit, is putting a Doppelganger in a maze or a building with shifting areas. Any area that separates your players from one another would allow the Doppelganger to take on the forms of party members, striking at the others and then vanishing into the maze to rinse and repeat. No matter the actual setting, Doppelgangers make for very fun social interactions, RP, and combat in 5th edition. The Doppelganger comes to us from Germany. The word itself literally translates to double walker, and is used to describe a biologically unrelated lookalike, or a double of a person. In mythology and folklore, the Doppelganger is usually some sort of phantom or ghost that acts as a bringer of doom and an omen of bad fortune. In the more popular folktales, they are usually equated to an evil twin, with the term twin stranger being used on occasion. In almost all traditional tales, the Doppelganger itself is some sort of shape-shifting creature or spirit that tricks humans, typically to their deaths. Similar spirits called Ka exist in Egyptian myths, spirit doubles that share the memories and feelings of a living person, and the Vardogar in Norse myth describes spirits that portray a living person's actions before they do them, almost like a physical manifestation of foreshadowing. In contemporary media, most Doppelgangers are evil twins or creatures in the guise of humans that wreak havoc, like in Jordan Peele's Us. With the advent of social media, people have reported finding their own twin strangers online, people who look eerily similar due to similar genetic makeups. There are even entire websites that use facial recognition to capitalize on the trend of finding your double, and there have been many conspiracy theories surrounding celebrities who look like one another, or the very specific case of the immortal Keanu Reeves, who is clearly a shape-shifting being that can vary his look to evade being outed as immortal. When comparing the myths to the creature, we find that the D&D creature is basically identical to the more modern version of the myth. creatures that can change their shapes to trick, trap, and harm mortals. The more traditional myths allude to doppelgangers as being spirits or ghosts, but D&D 5th edition has elected to follow the more popularized form. If you enjoyed that video, consider giving it a like and giving me a follow. And for more of my videos, you can find me on Twitch at Moglaroo, YouTube at Moglaroo Streams, and TikTok at Moglaroo Streams as well.